Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Cackling Pumpkins. I'm going to talk about something that has affected me for a long time, and I want to be able to try and help people with. Now, for those who don't know, the year before 2021 and 2022 were very bad years for me. In 2021, I only uploaded around like 30 videos, and in 2022 it was like 55, which is an improvement, but at the same time, yeah, things could be a lot better, and it's mainly because in mid-2021, my mental health faced the worst downfall it ever went through. I mean, seriously, my mental health has never been this low before, and for a while it seemed like it was never going to get back up. Now it has. Things have definitely improved thanks to therapy, my medication, and also just taking the advice of my therapist and my psychiatrist. And also just enjoying life too, working out some issues on my own. Now, I'm not going to talk about what I have been going through because, for one, that's a little too private, and this is coming from me. I don't mind talking about God knows how much stuff that many people would consider too much information. But at the same time, I realized there are some not the greatest people who would weaponize that kind of stuff. And also, I don't want people to recontextualize the stuff I say as a constant reminder so that they can make a profit off of it. So it's better just not to really talk about it until I feel more confident in it. So how is it that I went from barely making any content from that point in time to immediately topping 2022 in just by early February by having more than 55 videos ready? Well, a lot of stuff involving mental health, that is a completely different discussion, but one problem was constant procrastination and a lack of motivation. To me, the two go hand in hand. If you lack motivation, you are going to be prone to procrastinate, and that can lead you down a path where one day you just wake up and realize, my God, I ain't doing anything. Holy crap, it's been that long? I've had a lot of moments like this. There were a lot of projects I was supposed to make, and yeah, some of it was because of the pandemic that had affected all of us, but some of it was also because of my own draining mental health and lack of motivation. Things like Normal Horror Season 2 that was supposed to be in 2021. Now I had just started production on that. Spaghetti Wars 2 and 3 that was supposed to come respectively 2020 and 2021. Now I actually am working on those things. And also some characters that I had just been sitting on, like Bunny and John and Cletus Joe McDimwitty, which I'm finally doing things with. So what turned that around? What changed? Well, I'm not going to be talking about a lot of stuff that relates to my mental health, because that is a completely different discussion. We'd be here all day if we tried to mix the two. But when it comes down to getting my motivation back, or having moments where I don't feel that motivated, I just go ahead and do one simple thing. Now, before I go ahead and state this, before I go ahead and say my point, let me just go ahead and say I know this is something that's not going to help with everyone. Just like with mental health, people have their own different experiences, and thus they have their own different solutions. When it comes down to it, what helps me is not going to help everybody, but it doesn't hurt to try, or at least to listen to someone. Think of me as less of a professional and more or less just a friend who wants to help, or an acquaintance that just wants to give advice. So what do I do when I'm lacking motivation? When I just don't feel like working today, but I know I want to get stuff done? I don't. Simple as that. I take a break for the day. I just sit down and say, you know what, today's not the day. And just chillax. I do some things I personally find enjoying for the day, like listening to old creepypastas, or some of the more cliche Lost episode video game creepypastas, because yeah, they're not great, but they're still very entertaining to me. I like watching, let's say, there's this YouTube channel, I think it's the Road Rage USA. I've been watching them a lot more, because just watching people be complete idiots, for some reason, is just entertaining to me. Sometimes I listen to music, I listen to chill hop, or I pace around my room listening to music with my AirPods on, and just use that as a way to sort of envision ideas. And that's another discussion I'll lead to another day. I actually saw people talking about that on Twitter. Now, when it comes down to it, taking a break may be all you need. And this can help for several reasons. One, it's a good recharge. You're not overworking yourself. You're not expecting yourself to work every day. Despite what some people may say, it's not a constant growth. Sometimes you are going to need to sit down and say, okay, just chill out for the day. You need to recharge. And yeah, sometimes it's going to take more than one day. I've had times where I took break weeks. And I remember last year it took even longer, but that was just a problem of my lack of motivation. I took like 2 months of a break from January to February in 2022. But that was my mental health and lack of motivation. I didn't do that this year, as you can blatantly see. I've been able to do videos almost every weekday since February. And remember how I said earlier, you would just wake up and say, man, I'm not doing anything. Sometimes that's all you need. Sometimes you need to be able to give yourself that feeling that I haven't really done much. Sometimes you need to be able to remind yourself that if you go ahead and like force yourself to work, those breaks are just going to keep getting longer and you're going to end up procrastinating more. But that's not it. If that was, it would just be like a 1-minute video. I would just be like, you want to go ahead and improve? Take a break. Bye. Get out. Leave. But here, think about this. What do you do on a break? What do you do to enjoy yourself, like a hobby or something that you just kind of do to make yourself feel better? Do you like to go for walks? Do you like to play video games, listen to music, watch movies? Do you like to read a book? Do you like to meditate? Right? Think about the thing that you like to do the most hobby-wise, and do it a little different. For me, motivation comes from inspiration, and to become inspired, I truly do believe that you need to be able to expose yourself to something new and fresh so that you could possibly be inspired by that. If you go for a walk in a different route, go for a walk in a different place, you might see a certain structure or location or event that might trigger that inspiration. You watch movies, alright, what movies do you like to watch? For me, I like to watch action films and horror films and animated films. I might watch something different. I might watch a modern live action movie. I might watch, I don't know, let's say a romantic film, even though it's not really my thing. You know, you need to get out of your comfort zone and see something new. If you like to play video games, play a game on a different console that you haven't in a while, play a new game that you haven't. I know some of you may have at least one game that you've got that you haven't even touched yet. I do too. My Steam account is full of them. Thanks to the modern age of entertainment where everything is a lot more streamlined, thanks to digital stores such as Steam and the Epic Game Store, and stuff like the Nintendo eShop, PlayStation Network, and Xbox Live, and also with streaming services like Netflix, HBO Max, Paramount Plus, Crunchyroll, Disney Plus, and all these other services, it is so much easier to be able to expose yourself to something that you have never seen before. It might be a little difficult because unlike the days of TV where all you have to do is just flip through the channels and just wait till something makes you a little bit curious, you have to actually choose, which if you're just kind of in the mood where you just want to watch something and you don't know exactly what, that can be easier said than done. I do hope one day streaming makes kind of like a way to sort of bring back that feeling of TV. I'm hoping one day streaming services create like a light version that's free. You don't really need to create an account or pay for it. You could just turn it on, but you don't really choose what you watch. It's set up like TV where there's a schedule, and just like TV, there'd be like commercials in between each showing of a show, and that's how the free version is able to be sustainable. It could be a good alternative and a way to sort of expand these services, and also just give people something they can watch in the background. Let the light version also be available to those who pay for it too, because I wouldn't mind that. Like HBO Max, for example, they got Cartoon Network. Imagine if like they had Cartoon Network live on HBO Max, something that's free. You could just go on there and click it, and they would just have airings of different Cartoon Network shows and different episodes and different kinds of commercials in between. Imagine they could even bring back bumpers like they did for the 30th anniversary stream. That'd be kind of neat. But anyway, I'm getting a little sidetracked. My point is, you really want to be inspired, expose yourself to something new. Expose yourself that you haven't seen before, or even in a while. Maybe play a video game that you haven't played in like a decade, something you might be a little nostalgic for, and revisit it. It would be good for you to expose yourself to something new, because that's where inspiration comes from. You can't be inspired by the same things over and over and over. You may like, I don't know, let's say your favorite movie is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, right? But if you watch that movie all the time, for one, you're going to get bored of it, and two, then inspiration is going to run dry. You need to be able to expand your horizons, so taking this break to expand your horizons and take your normal hobbies and take them into different directions, take them out of your comfort zone, may be exactly what you need. Motivation comes from inspiration, and you just might find inspiration from something you don't expect. It doesn't matter whether or not it's a good movie, a bad video game, a genre you're not familiar with, something you haven't seen since you were a kid, something you haven't seen at all, something from the old ages, something that's current, doesn't matter as long as it's something you're not that familiar with and you're giving it a genuine chance and just using it as a way to sort of, enhance your break, then you might become inspired. And in some cases, you might not even become inspired by what you've seen. You could just become inspired in the sense of, hey, they created something, I should get back to work. I've had a moment where I wanted to take a break for the day. I just laid in bed. Today was a bed day, I said. So I turned on, I think it was HBO Max at first, and I watched a few movies and TV shows. I watched Madagascar 2, because that's a movie I haven't seen in a very long time. I watched Book of Life for the first time. Great film. And I also watched a few episodes of Inuyasha, which was available on Netflix. And just by watching those three, I wasn't necessarily inspired by specifically anything in them, but just seeing those pieces of work got me inspired to work again. So what was supposed to be my break day actually got cut off halfway through because I got inspired again. It happened that quickly for me. That's my biggest advice. Take a break, do stuff that you enjoy, but in a way that gets out of your comfort zone. Take a walk in a different route. Listen to different kinds of music, watch a new movie, play an old video game that you haven't in like a decade or something. Just expose yourself to something a little different and you might just get the inspiration that you're looking for. Whether that be you're inspired by the thing that you're looking at, or just inspired by the fact that you're seeing pieces of entertainment, or just inspired to work again. You're getting motivated again. That is my biggest advice. I'd also say that's just good in general to do, because how can you improve as a creator if you're just forcing yourself to consume the same things over and over and over? It doesn't hurt to rewatch certain things. God knows I love to watch classic Ben 10 and Nightmare Before Christmas a lot, but if I just watched that all the time, not only would I get bored of it, my inspiration would kind of run dry. And I've had moments where I've had that. So that's the best advice that I can give. I know it's probably not the most groundbreaking advice. How many have told you to take a break? But genuinely, I do hope this advice does help people, and if not, then why not put what you believe would help with procrastination or getting back your motivation down below. I wouldn't mind reading. Who knows, that could lead to a sequel. So with that being said, I hope you all enjoyed the video. Hope you all had a beautiful day, and I hope it gets even more beautiful. Your connection will be strange.